be a lot of fun. All right, guys, let's dive into our first topic tonight, shall we, Chris?
Let's do this.
Okay, we got another beautiful reaction video for all of you. This one is going to be a little bit longer. It's 2 minutes long. It's Archie and Ryan Day talking about the tradition of the running back position. And Ryan tries to go Archie into putting himself on a Mount Rushmore. And I am happy to say, at least Archie knows how many presidents are on Mount Rushmore. Thank God for that. And he won't do it. He mentioned some really good names, but after this reaction video, Chris and I, we're gonna
Hey,
try to do it because we're just glutton for
hey, Eric.
punishment.
Archie went to school when they did still play school.
Ouch! Ouch! All right, check out this video, everybody. You'll enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
A lot of people, when they're talking about the history of Ohio State or other programs, they talk about the Mount Rushmore of a certain position. And I know you have a certain philosophy on that. So if I was to say to you, what is the Mount Rushmore of running backs, you'd probably say what?
Well, I'll tell you what, I hate that question. Let me just tell you first of all. Matter of fact, Keith Byers and I were having a conversation about that question on our way to Jeff Logan's golf outing in Canton, Ohio a couple weeks ago. We came to the conclusion that we evade the question.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm going to do here today. I'm going to evade that question because Mount Rushmore has 4 presidents on it. I mean, you cannot boil Ohio State's tradition of running backs down to 4. I mean, we've had a boatload or a trainload of great running backs here at Ohio State University. I mean, you got to go all the way back to Chick Harley, the guy who everybody says built Ohio Stadium because of his performances. And a lot of times you see these around Mount Rushmore, they leave guys like that off. You know, you got Les Horvath, Vic Janowitz, Hop Cassidy. A lot of times you leave those guys off. But there are a tremendous amount of running backs that's been at Ohio State that's done a terrific job and were great for the teams that they played on. And I just feel very uncomfortable leaving any of those guys out. I mean, most of the times you hear about the guys that are most recent, guys like Zeke and Dobbins and folks like that. But there's some guys in between there that were fabulous. I mean, you think about the Spencers and certainly about the Eddie Georges, the Keith Byers and people like that, but I can go on and on.
Right.
And so I feel it's unfair to pick a Mount Rushmore of running backs and because we've had some great ones.
Yeah, so we'll stay away from that question.
All right.
A lot of people, when they're talking about the history of Ohio State or other programs.
We want to know from you guys in the comments section, who is your Mount Rushmore of Ohio State running backs? I know this is a difficult question. I know, in all honesty, what you should probably do is break it down by era. You could even break it down by decade. That's
really
how
could.
good. That's how good Ohio State's running backs have always been throughout the years. You could literally break it down by decade and still have a pretty good Mount Rushmore. But we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it tonight.
I'm feeling this.
We want you to jump in the comment section and give your Mount Rushmore of Ohio State running backs. I think for me, it's pretty easy to do the first 3. When we get to the 4th one, I struggle with what to do. But the obvious answer for number 1 is the guy that was just interviewing with Ryan Day. Archie Griffin is hands down easily the George freaking Washington of Mount Rushmore, okay? He's A1. He's your number 1 guy. So let's go with, just put that one to bed for both of us. Archie's number 1.
Yeah, you can't even dispute that. I mean, if you're the career rushing leader and you got 2 Heisman trophies, I don't think there can be any argument. For me, I I like the players I've got. The order is where I struggle, Eric.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I can
but
help you with number 2.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to go a little old school here. I'm going to go way old school.
Oh.
If they call the stadium the place that you built, you've got to be on the Mount Rushmore. So I got to go. And again, I don't know if I would go number 2, but I'm going to put him in there at number 2. I got to go Chick Harley, because by God, if the Horseshoe is the stadium that Chick built, that's saying a lot.
It is saying a lot. but I don't know. I mean, that era is so different, man. They
It's
didn't.
so different, but you know what?
It was more
He
like
brought
rugby than.
it was, but he brought Ohio State football to prominence. I mean, you think about it. Before Chick Harley, we were out there playing Ohio Wesleyan, Eric.
This is
We were
true.
playing the College of Worcester,
Yeah, this is true. Kenyon College from
Kenyon.
Gambier, Ohio.
Yes,
Yeah, this is true. This I
I
can't.
th- I actually kind of had him penciled in originally at number 4, but I kind of felt like that was a bit of an insult. And I know the eras are different. He's got to be on there, so I went ahead and just slid him up to 2.
All right, I'm gonna go with Eddie number 2. He's the Abraham Lincoln for me.
Yeah,
My childhood, um, that guy is his what he did is etched in my head. Having got to meet him as a kiddo when Ryan played for Ohio State, winning the Heisman Trophy, the game against Illinois he had was magical. Going back and watching him and his highlights, the guy could play today.
yeah,
He was just amazing. I think Archie could too, by the way, in his prime.
I
So
do too.
I'm gonna say Eddie's number 2 for me, and I'm guessing he's probably number 3 for you. Am I right?
Yeah, again, like I said, my 2, 3, 4, the numbers I just couldn't get right. I think there was so many great things about all of them. Yeah, I got Eddie in there too.
What
I've got him at number 3. We'll go number 3.
Okay, number 3 for me. I'm very interested if he's your number 4. I did not get to see this guy play. I was too young then. I saw him in the pros. He's got one of the most iconic runs of all time for Ohio State. My good friend, my mentor, um, he was an athletic trainer, Carl Hugler. He was an athletic trainer at Ohio State when this guy was there, and he has
Did
some
he put the shoe back on?
no, but he has some amazing stories before the game. Uh, of course, I'm talking about Keith Byers, everybody. Keith would come in and say, "Carl, tape up my guns," because he would rap, and he used to say that guy had the biggest arms. He goes, "They were real guns, man." He'd say, "Carl, tape up my guns." But anyways, I've got to go Keith Byers number 3. Is he number 4 for you?
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, the number 4. I'm interested to see who your number 4 is. Like I said, I went old school. I kind
Yeah.
of feel like you might have stayed a little more modern era, or possibly went with a number 40 from the past. But let's hear it. Who you got in at number 4 for you, Eric?
All right. I'm going to preface this by saying this. My number 4 would have been, if he would have stayed, Maurice Claret.
Yeah,
I think the year Maurice Claret had in 2002 was magical. It's unfortunate that he got some bad advice and decided to try to test the NFL waters before he really had the opportunity to do that. And so I probably would have put him there. Um, Obviously, you've got the more 2 recent good ones, in my opinion, in
yeah,
Zeke and Dobbins.
and Dobbins. Yeah,
And those are and I would put Zeke slightly ahead of Dobbins, even though Dobbins has the more prolific season. But Zeke's got the ring, like you said. But here's my number 4, Howard Hopalong Cassidy.
Cassidy. Yep.
Um, you go back and you learn about this man and what he did, and just he was the first guy in college football that resonated beyond the sport to where sports people were paying attention. He had what you would call modern day um, clout, if you will.
He
With
he had the it factor.
he was yeah he would be the guy who would be have how many Twitter followers, and if there was such a thing in those days, he was pop culture. He transcended pop culture,
Yeah,
the first one ever in college sports to kind of really do that. And so you make a good point for number 2, who you got at number 2. I feel I make a good point for who I have at number 4. But let's see what all of you guys have tonight. Your Mount Rushmore of Ohio State running
and think
backs.
about the guys we haven't even talked about, Eric. Guys like Pete Johnson.
Yeah. Donald Hoffer's got Eddie George, Archie, Zeke, and Hopalong Cassidy. So he and I agree with two of those. Actually, three.
You
You agree
three.
with three of those, yeah. Larry Daniels says Archie, Eddie, Keith Byers. He corrects his spelling on Keith Byers, but I won't show that. But thank you, Larry. And Zeke Elliott, and he says many more very strong candidates. Yeah, we really do. Ryan Wickerham, he went with Archie, Eddie, Dobbins, and Zeke. So he went with the more modern there, which I think if you would ask most people who are in their 20s, that's what they'll go with, more than
Yeah.
likely. Um, yeah,
No,
Larry,
no love for Robert Smith from anybody either.
football was so different before face guards on helmets, equipment in general. Yeah, it really
Yeah.
was. A lot of broken noses back then. Um, oh, let's see. Robert Allen says Chick Harley before we played before him, we played all something schedule. Hopalong, Archie, Eddie, and then honorable mention is Keith Byers, Zeke, and
I
Dobbins.
I can't be mad at any of that.
No, no, you cannot. Um, and yeah, Robert Allen agrees with me. Claret would have made his list too if the wheels wouldn't have come off. Yeah.
I blame
I,
the NCAA, Eric. If NIL had been in place when Claret was in school, this wouldn't have even been an issue.
Jason Monk wants to bring up an interesting argument here. Should we put Braxton as a running back? No.
It's the only position he didn't officially play, I think.
He could. He could have played it. I know that he could have played it.
Oh,
He
without a
was.
doubt, he made a great tailback.
If you remember, though, he was very ouchy in his career. Even before he had the big injury with the elbow, he was beat up a lot, which is the reason why Smooth Jazz had the moments he had.
I'll tell you what, OTP could have probably slid over to the tailback room too.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And he was a big
So.
man.
Good discussion, guys. This is a really good discussion. You can't go wrong with any of these guys. But interestingly enough, if you go back and you want to look, I'm pretty sure there were two guys on every single person's list. I'm going over it again. Yeah,
That's the ones with the little statue, right?
yeah. Archie and Eddie, they
Yeah.
both are on everybody's Mount Rushmore. I don't think you could go wrong there. Yeah,
No.
absolutely.